There have been generations of people in this country who have not had rights, who have not had the right to vote, who have not had the right to marry, who have not had the equality that most of us are able to take for granted because of the zip code we were born in and the color of our skin, or our status in society. And so the idea that these people feel themselves so aggrieved, I mean, there were generations of people who actually had real grievances. These are wannabe weekend warriors who are all just hopped up and filled with self-righteous indignation based on lies.
This is treason. This is treason. This is insurrection. This is rebellion. Period. I have heard people looking at small protests in Portland, Oregon, where people were tear gassed, beaten, kidnapped. And they said, no. Whatever you do to those protests is okay, because we have to have law and order. We have to have law and order. This is rebellion. It is treason. It is lawlessness. It is unacceptable. And we are on a glide path at this point to having to look down the barrel of possible civil war. When all the things we talk about up here sound so abstract, when we talk about the peaceful transfer of power, it just sounds like something from a book. This is what it looks like when you don't have a peaceful transfer of power. Abraham Lincoln talked about some people want rule or ruin. If I can't have it my way, I'll burn the whole country down. If I can't have it my way, I will burn the country down. So now I don't think that Republicans and conservatives can look at this and say this is okay. I'm calling on all of my conservative friends, my Republican friends, to say, what would I do if Black Lives Matter dropped 30,000 black people on the nation's capital and laid siege to the seat of power in the middle of a joint session of Congress and broke in? What would I say if Black Lives Matter did it? I'm going to say that right now. What would if Muslims did it? If Muslims dropped 30,000 Muslims on the seat of government in the middle of the joint session of Congress and ran in there and there was blood on the floor and tear gas, what would we be saying? If you believe that we are all one people, you don't like the hyphenations. If you believe that we're all one country, if you don't believe in law and order, if you're against traitors, if you are for patriotism, there needs to be a uniform denunciation from top to bottom of the Republican Party of what we're seeing. And the last thing I just want to say is this. For Keisha Lance Bottoms, a black woman who was a mayor of Atlanta, when they started rioting in Atlanta, she stood up and she said, you stop it. You don't do this in Atlanta. You don't do this in America. She stood up to her base and told them to go home. Where is the President of the United States? Where is Donald Trump? Show the wisdom and the intelligence and the strength of a black woman mayor of Atlanta in the middle of this riot, and then we can get someplace.
Yeah, the difference here is that the mayor did not incite the riot.
That's right.
And the President of the United States did. Rick, I really respect what you said, but I don't understand how you don't understand how we got here. We know how we got here. We know that words matter. And when the President of the United States says again and again and again that these institutions are corrupt, they're rigged, the election was fraudulent, they're stealing it from you, when he goes out and addresses these very people today and tells them that they have to be strong and urges them to march down to the Capitol, I don't understand how you don't understand how this happened. We know how it happened. Getting hungry. The president sits in the White House, and the tigers are loose at the Capitol. I just want to just say one more thing, Gloria. I'm the son of an immigrant who fled a country because of scenes like this and came to the United States because this was a country of law. This was a country of laws, and many of us share that story. I am in tears today to see this scene. This is not an American scene, and this was not a necessary scene. And I understand completely why it happened.
Gloria?
I'm heartbroken. And these are domestic terrorists. They're ripping it apart. And then I saw a tweet by Ivanka Trump, which she took down, which called them American patriots. She said, you know, any security breach is unacceptable, etc. But she called them American patriots. That is not what I call them. These are people who march there to do damage. And they march there to do damage in the middle of a constitutional session in which a presidential election, free and fair, was being certified.
Injured in the midst of the chaos that we are seeing, with at least one officer, Wolf, transported to the hospital. Multiple sources tell me and my colleague Noah Gray, just to give you a sense of what this means with this officer being transported to the hospital, it seems to be they are only transporting higher priority cases. So although we don't know what the injury is, that gives you a clue. We know that EMS is on the scene there, and they are triaging. A woman was shot in the chest on Capitol grounds earlier today. We don't know the circumstances of that, but what we do know, Wolf, is that law enforcement is simply overwhelmed. You report that the National Guard is now